Putin came out and said that we need Jesus in America and that the occult has taken over and that the West is sick and under the control of Satan. I never played that about 3 weeks ago or so when he said it. I just read the headline. He's come out in a new speech a few days ago. It's only 6 minutes long, but he does talk quickly. So as fast as I can read it in English, I'll have to hit pause some. But he says that the left and wokeness is creating crimes against humanity and is designed to destroy civilization, and that the communists did the same thing in his country and that he's against it, and that the Bolsheviks were evil, and the same people running the Bolsheviks today are running the destruction of America. Wow. Nobody talks like that that's bad. That's actually what's going on. Putin recognizes it. He became an acolyte of Alexander Solzhenitsyn secretly when he was in the KGB. That's now only coming out. And Solzhenitsyn gave Putin the green light a decade before he died after meeting with him for sometimes up to 2 days straight in private. So I think he got him, sat him down and said, it's time to stop betraying the Russian people. It's time to kick these globalist Bolsheviks out that all come out of New York City and London. So that's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. And the Bolsheviks are a curse on all of us and a curse to all peoples. I don't care if you're European, or I don't care if you're African, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care if you're Latin American, I don't care if you're a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim. The Bolsheviks are nothing but the Jacobin 2.0, the Illuminati. And they believe they have a divine right to rule over us and enslave us, and that we are their chattel. And if we act like it and behave like it, we kind of deserve what we get. Never been to Russia. I mean, I know why they hate him so much, because if we start adopting what Putin's saying, the United States will be twice as powerful as Russia. This isn't about who's powerful. It's about Putin saying he doesn't like seeing America collapse and become wicked and demonic and feminized. And he's telling the truth. He's trying to help us. And he's saying that the Bolsheviks did this to us and they're doing it to you. Wow. Vladimir Putin is saying the Bolsheviks are bad. That's why they fear him so much. And people think that they're going to duck criticism if they just attack Putin. I don't lionize any of these world leaders. I don't count on them. I count on God. But it's crazy. So that's a whole other subject there. In fact, I could spend a whole hour just on this clip. It almost doesn't even do it justice, including one a month ago I never even got to. I just mentioned the headlines. I read a few quotes where Putin's like saying incredible stuff about America needs Jesus and needs God. If you don't have God, you're going to have the devil. I mean, just incredible. He opposes mandatory injections, says people should get vaccinated without coercion. And he's talking about his real vaccine that's also got problems. So just incredible. Vladimir Putin says he was a supporter of Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn was anti-Bolshevik, anti-communist, anti-New World Order, and really understood that Russia had been run by a multinational offshore group to kill the Christians and exploit the Russians to expand their criminal empire worldwide, and that it was powerful banking interest in the West that had actually taken over Russia in 1917, which is a historical fact. I don't need Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Nobel Prize winner for history, to tell me that, but his Gulag Archipelago is a seminal work on witnessing a lot of that from the inside. But to have Putin come out a month ago and say, America needs Christianity, Europe needs Christianity, if we don't have that, we're going to have evil as our operating system, that was amazing. Now he's come out in an interview, and it's just like a 6-minute interview, and I'm going to try to not comment over a lot of it, but most people out there don't speak Russian, and I don't either, and we're also a syndicated radio show, not just TV. So I'm going to try to read the closed captions in English as best I can. But the title of the video that I'm going to have posted under the live show feed right now, so you can find it and watch it in your leisure, is Crime Against Humanity, Putin on Wokeness and Western PC Culture. So we'll start playing parts of it right now, and then we'll stop it because he goes a little fast for me reading here. I'm going to go ahead and start rolling. We look in amazement at the process underway in the countries,
Смотрим на процессы, разворачивающиеся в странах, которые привыкли считать себя
which have been traditionally looked at as the standard bearers of progress.
флагманами прогресса. Конечно, те социальные
Of course, The social and cultural shocks that are taking place in the United States, Western Europe, are none of our business.
Культурные потрясения, которые происходят в тех же Штатах и в Западной Европе, не наше дело. Мы туда не лезем. Кто-то
We are keeping out of
в
this.
странах уверен, что
Some people in the West believe that an aggressive elimination of entire pages from their own history, which is reverse discrimination.
агрессивное вымарывание целых страниц собственной истории, обратная дискриминация большинства в интересах меньшинств,
Against the majority in the interest of a minority. The demand to give up the traditional notions of mother, father, family, and even gender.
или требование отказаться от привычного понимания таких базовых вещей, как мама, папа, семья, или даже различия полов, это
They believe that all of these are the milestones on the path towards social renewal. Really, it's total
и есть
societal collapse.
движение к общественному.
Yeah, it's the Great Reset. It's the total collapse of the population. It's the end of the nuclear family and civilization. It is death. Continue.
Обновлению. Адепты так называемого
The advocates of the so-called social progress believe they are introducing humanity to some kind of new and better consciousness.
социального прогресса полагают, что несут человечеству какое-то новое сознание, более правильное, чем прежде. Ну и дай бог им флаг.
Now here's the key. He goes on to explain, no, we know what it is. It's the Bolsheviks. Godspeed. Hoist the flags, as we say. Go right ahead. He's being sarcastic. The only thing I want to say now is that their prescriptions are not new at all.
Руки, как у нас говорят. Вперед. Только вот, знаете, о чем сейчас хочу сказать? Предлагаемые ими рецепты совершенно не новы. Все это, как это...
They may come, and this may come as a surprise to some people, but Russia has been there already.
Кому-то покажется неожиданным. Мы в России уже проходили. У нас тут уже было. В большевики после
After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks, relying on dogmas of Marx and Engels, also said they would change existing ways and customs.
революции 1917 года, опираясь на догмы марксизма Маркса и Энгельса, тоже объявили, что изменят весь привычный уклад. Не только политический.
And not just political and economic ones, but the very notion of human morality and the foundations of a healthy society.
Экономически, но и само представление о том, что такое человеческая мораль, основы здорового существования общества.
The destruction of the age-old values, religion, and relations between people, up to and including the total rejection of family. We had that too.
Крушение вековых ценностей, веры, отношений между людьми вплоть до полного отказа от семьи, такое было.
Encouragement to inform on loved ones. All this was proclaimed progress, and by the way, was widely supported around the world and back.
Насаждение и поощрение доносительства на близких. Все это объявлялось поступью прогресса. Кстати говоря, в мире...
And then, it was quite fashionable, same as today.
Достаточно широко поддерживалось тогда и было модным. Так же, как и сегодня. Борьба за равноправие.
So he said, then as now is fashionable. The fight for equality and against discrimination has turned into an aggressive dogmatism bordering on absurdity.
И против дискриминации превращается в агрессивный догматизм на грани абсурда, когда великих авторов...
When the works of the greatest authors of the past, such as Shakespeare, are no longer taught at schools or universities because their ideas are believed to be backward.
Того же Шекспира перестают преподавать в школах и университетах, потому что они, эти идеи, являются, как там считают, отсталыми.
The classicals are declared backward and ignorant of the importance of gender and race are promoted.
Объявляются отсталыми, не понимающими важности гендерного или расового вопроса.
In Hollywood, memos are distributed about proper storytelling and how many characters of what color or gender should be allowed in the movie.
Выпускают памятки, как и о чем нужно снимать кино, сколько персонажей какого цвета или пола там должно быть. Получается похлеще, чем отдел агитации и пропаганды.
Then, this is even worse than the Agitprop Department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union did.
Центрального комитета Коммунистической партии Советского Союза. Противодействие.
Countering acts of racism is a necessary and noble cause, but the new cancel culture has turned into the reverse discrimination, that is, reverse racism.
Проявлением расизма дело необходимое, благородное. Однако в новой культуре отмены оно превращается в обратную дискриминацию, то есть расизм наоборот. Навязчивое подчеркивание расовой.
The obsessive emphasis on race is further dividing people when the real fighters for civil rights dream precisely about erasing differences. Pause. He's talking about Martin Luther King Jr. and others. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this and finish up. But he's telling you the Bolsheviks were bad. He's telling you international groups supported them. He's telling you don't go into the same hell Russia went under. And he gets to that. This is just unbelievably true. And it's so revolutionary, as George Orwell said, in a world of universal deceit, telling the truth, Revolutionary Act, this is a big deal. And he just gets more and more hardcore every day. Like saying we need Jesus and Christianity a month ago, and that America's problem is Satanism, which it is. Russia will be blessed. We will be destroyed under this. Why would Russia be trying to get us to do what would empower us if they were our enemy? No, they understand this is a spiritual battle. Vladimir Putin has gotten Christ. I don't know if he had it 50 years ago or 20 years ago, but he's got it now. And the globalists hate his guts. So you can say what you want about Putin. He undoubtedly cares about the Russian people. He's got government programs, people to have more children. He's promoting Christianity. He's promoting savings. He's promoting health. And he's got the globalists really pissed off at him. And so if you pull back from that, why would he tell America you should be Christian again? And you need God, and your wokeness is destroying you. Well, I mean, he knows that any country that adopts Satanism will collapse. The globalists want America out of the way. That's why they've inflicted us with the poison of the wokeness, where public schools demand that the school cheer for the male homecoming queen. All of this is meant to undermine the society. Now, certainly the strong man, Vladimir Putin, is not a choir boy and not an angel. But he does recognize that if Russia's to have a future, America needs to have a future as well, that the main threat to the planet is a spiritual one. And here he is talking about the Bolsheviks and the leftist movements and how it put Russia under the yoke of tyranny for 80 plus years, crimes against humanity. This is pretty incredible. There's a few minutes left. Go ahead and roll it again, and I'll stop it and translate it for radio listeners because I can read the closed captioning. Here it is. The obsessive emphasis on race is further dividing people when the real fighters for civil rights dream precisely about erasing differences.
Еще больше разобщает людей. А ведь мечтой истинных борцов за гражданские права было как раз стирание различий, отказ от
and refusing to divide people on their skin color.
По цвету кожи. Я напомню.
I specifically asked my colleagues to find the following quote from Martin Luther King. I have a dream that my 4 little children may one day.
Вчера подобрать эту цитату Мартина Лютера Кинга. Он сказал, как вы помните, я мечтаю о том, что придет день, когда мои 4 ребенка будут жить в стране.
I have a dream that one day my 4 little children might live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the character of their deeds and actions.
Где о них будут судить не по цвету их кожи, а в соответствии с их личностными качествами. Вот истинная ценность.
This is the true value. However, things are turning out differently there.
Что-то все по-другому как-то сейчас видим, что происходит. Кстати, у нас в России...
By the way, the absolute majority of Russian people do not think that the color of a person's skin is their gender. Is an important matter.
В абсолютном большинстве все равно, какого цвета у человека кожа. Он или она.
Each of us is a human being. That is what matters.
Тоже не так важно. Каждый из нас человек. Вот что главное. В совершенную...
In a number of Western countries, the debate over men and women's rights has turned into a perfect, and I don't know what that word is, phantasmagoria. I learn something every day. A perfect phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria just sounds like a giant infighting, confusion, no one knowing what's going on, total mental illness, just absolute destruction of common sense, a spasm of idiocy. Let's see if my guess is right. Form of theater. Yeah. Just total fake garbage. Let's continue. An exhibition of optical effects and illusions. A constantly shifting complex succession of things seen or imagined. Yeah, it's like a hallucination. A scene that constantly changes, which a bizarre and fantastic combination, collection, or assemblage. Yeah, that's all the pronouns and the rest of it. Wow, Putin's a smart guy. Let's continue.
Фантасмагорию превратилась в ряде западных стран дискуссия о правах мужчин и женщин. Ревнители
Zealots of these new approaches even go so far as to want to establish these concepts altogether.
новых подходов заходят так далеко, что хотят отменить сами эти понятия.
Anyone who dares mention that men and women actually exist, which is a biological fact, risks being
Те
ostracized.
же, кто рискует сказать, что мужчины и женщины все-таки есть, и это биологический факт, подвергает чуть ли не остракизму. Родитель
Parent number one and parent number two, birthing parent instead of mother and human milk replacing breast milk.
номер один и родитель номер два. Родившие родители вместо мама. Запрет на использование словосочетания «грудное молоко» и замена его человеческим молоком. Чтобы люди...
Because it might upset the people who are unsure about their own gender. It's not about them, it's about dehumanization.
О половой принадлежности не расстроились. Повторю, и это не ново.
I repeat, this is nothing new. In the 1920s, the so-called Soviet Klunternagers also invented some newspeak.
В 20-е годы советские культуртрегеры, так называемые, изобрели тоже так называемый новояз, полагая, что
Believing they were creating a new consensus and changing values that
таким
way.
образом они созидают новое сознание и меняют ценностный ряд. Не говорю уже о
Not to mention some truly monstrous things when children are taught from an early age that a boy can easily become a girl and vice versa.
чудовищных вещах, когда детям сегодня с малолетства внушают, что мальчик легко может стать девочкой, и наоборот, фактически навязывают.
That is, the teachers actually impose on them a choice we all supposedly have.
Якобы имеющийся у каждого выбор. Навязывают.
They do it so while shutting the parents out of the process and forcing the child to make decisions, they can upend their entire life. Yep.
Отстраняет этого родителя,
Total sabotage.
заставляя ребенка принимать решения,
Super child abuse.
жизнь. И никто даже не
They do not even bother consult with a child psychologist. Is a child at the age of even capable of making a decision of this kind.
советуется с детскими психологами. Вообще ребенок в каком-то возрасте в состоянии принимать решения подобного рода или нет?
Calling a spade, this verges on a crime against humanity and is being done in the name and under the banner of progress.
Называя вещи своими именами, это уже просто на грани преступления против человечности. И все под именем и под знаменем прогресса. Ну, вот.
Well, if someone likes this, let them do it. I've already mentioned that. In shaping our approaches, we will be guided by a healthy conservatism.
Пусть это делают. Когда-то уже говорил, что формируя свои подходы, мы будем руководствоваться идеологией здорового консерватизма. Это было несколько лет назад. Тогда
That was a few years ago when passions on the international arena were not yet running as high as they are now, although.
На международной арене еще не достигали нынешнего накала. Хотя, конечно, можно сказать.
Of course, we can say that clouds were gathering even then. Now when the world is going through a structural disruption,
Что тучи уже тогда сгущались. Сейчас, когда мир переживает структурный слом, значение разумного
the importance of reasonable conservatism as the foundation for political course has skyrocketed.
как основа политического курса многократно возросло.
Precisely because of the multiplying risk and dangers and the fragility of the reality around us. Let's hit pause. See, they're putting you into the Great Reset to make people angry, to break things down, so they can offer the true transhumanism. That's the Great Reset, and Putin is opposing that. Continue.
Множащихся рисков и опасностей, хрупкости окружающей нас реальности.
All right, that's it. So, can you find any fault with that? No, I can't.